ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤ੍ਰਿੰਜਨ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾਸ਼ਤਾ ਕੈਫੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਨਿੱਘਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਨੋਪੌਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮੇਰਾ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੋਪੌਜ਼ ਦੇ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਨੋਪੌਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਐਂਡ ਇੰਨਾ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਵੈਨਿਊ ਨਾਸ਼ਤਾ ਕੈਫੇ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਚਾਹ ਕੌਫੀ ਹੌਟ ਚਾਕਲੇਟ ਵੀ ਪਿਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਪਾਂ ਲਾਸਟ ਵੀਕ ਮੇਰਾ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਇੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੰਮ ਵੇਖ ਲੈ ਸੇ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੀ ਦੂਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋ। ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਅਬਾਊਟ HRT, ਹਾਰਮੋਨ ਰਿਪਲੇਸਮੈਂਟ ਥੈਰੇਪੀ। ਐਂਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਿਆਲ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ 50 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 100 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ there was no HRT। ਤਾਂ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਖਾਣ ਪੀਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਛੇੜੀ ਸੀਗੀ। and we said that we'd do the next episode on that, which we will, ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। but I feel like it is related ਕਿ 50 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, even 50 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ, even ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ they ਕੀ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਇਹ this is ਕਿ ਹਾਰਮੋਨਸ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਕੁਦਰਤੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ it's very natural process where the body is being depleted of these, you know, they're lowering in levels. What did women do? ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਨਾਨੀਆਂ ਦਾਦੀਆਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਔਰਤਾਂ, what did they do?
Do you know what we are so good at, we're so clever at, is food. We love our food, but we know that different foods have different qualities.
Hanji.
Yeah, when you've had a baby, what do we give them? Exactly, to clear out. So we understand spices, we understand herbs, we understand food. So actually, we just need to use that knowledge to help ourselves. So just to understand what's happening in menopause, and then use those herbs, spices, cooking, food to nourish ourselves more. And that, I think, is that was what it was for me. So for me, I'm not on HRT. Not because then back in that day when I started, it was 15 years ago, the HRT was different. It was made from horse urine. It wasn't the same as it is today.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I'm not having that. This is not happening. Now it's made from yam. It's different. It's body identical, so your body recognizes it more. So I think if I needed it, I would take it straight away.
Yeah, I think ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਕੁਝ ਸਹੀ ਜਾਂ ਗਲਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਪਰ ਫੂਡ ਐਂਡ ਡਾਈਟ ਕੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਤਸੀਰ ਗਰਮ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਤਸੀਰ ਠੰਡੀ ਹੈ। ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ if you've got a cold you have adrak in your jar, or you put a bit of haldi in it, and things like this. But don't you think ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ knowledge ਹੈ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਜੀ it's a bit lost, ਅਸੀਂ ਗਵਾ ਲਈ ਹੈ। So how do we get to this stage ਫਿਰ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਫੂਡਸ ਖਾਣੇ ਨੇ? Tell me, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ my entire life ਮੇਰਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ believe ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ I was a cold person. ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ ਨਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਕੱਪੜੇ even in the summer ਗਰਮੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ, and I used to be really slim, so everybody would say ਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਮਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, she's so skinny, she's got no weight on her, that's why she's, and yes I've put the weight on and I'm sure this is a contributing factor, but ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਠੰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦੀ। ਹੁਣ I'm like ਪਰਦੇ ਖੋਲੋ, I'm like this. So how does food truly play a part in this, and where do we gain this knowledge from?
So we'll start with estrogen, that lovely beautiful hormone
ਜਿਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰਤ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਐਸਟ੍ਰੋਜਨ ਲੈਵਲ ਕਾਫੀ low ho janda hai.
We stop producing. There's different types of estrogen.
Hanji.
But the main one, we stop producing it completely
after menopause.
Yes, and then we only produce a certain amount of a different type, which isn't as good. So only a little bit.
So what did our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers do then?
So the thing is with estrogen, our body changes how we absorb food, how we use food. So we have to think again. And a lot of women will say, but I'm eating the same as I was eating before. But I'm still gaining the weight. What's happening? It's because you don't have the estrogen that you once had, or the type and amount. So the way your body processes sugar is different. The way your body digests the different nutrients is different. So we need to think really cleverly. So there are certain foods that are linked to triggering those symptoms. So we
the hot flashes.
So if you're already feeling hot, yeah, you need to be careful about the foods you're having to make you feel hot. So spices are wonderful. They give you lots of different nutrients, but certain spices you have to be a little bit careful with. So haldi, ginger, they're hot. So you've got to be a little bit more careful, maybe not have so many, but they're also good for you. So because they reduce your inflammation, yeah, they help like that. Certain things like we said about tea and coffee, they'll increase your heat in your body. So again, be careful, you may not be able to have as much tea and coffee or any. Alcohol. So, wine, or you may have been able to have a glass of wine, now you can't anymore because it changes. But also things like badam, they're hot, but they're still good for you. So what I say to people is swap those for seeds, like pumpkin seeds. So pumpkin seeds. Okay, I didn't know that. So those are really good in zinc, magnesium, they've got good fats in them. So swap that because they're better for you.
Had all this
They had all of it. So even like sesame seeds, like til and white poppy seeds, those things are really good for us to give us the micronutrients. So micronutrients are the smaller, like the vitamins and the minerals. How we cook the food. So for some people, we may not be able to use ghee anymore. Maybe we need to cook without the oils to make it more healthy for us. So that also is something to think about. Certain foods like tomatoes may cause...
ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਕ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਟਮਾਟਰਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿ ਸਬਜ਼ੀ ਟਮਾਟਰਾਂ I'm sorry ਮੈਂ ਹੱਸ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੱਸ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ because I want to know the answer as well ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ how do you make a tadka without the tomatoes?
So the thing to remember is it's not for everyone.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
But usually the cooked tomatoes have different nutrients to the raw tomatoes. So sometimes most people can cope with the cooked tomatoes because it's got more of something called lycopene, which is really good antioxidant. So it clears up. It's good for us, so that can be good. Again, when you're looking at food, making sure you're having lots of vegetables, all the colors. I always say, even for the children, I do it for. So choose the different colors, or every day, what colors am I having? Green, very important. So your saag and all of those sabzis, broccoli. Then your orange, making sure you're having carrots, gajar, or even like squash, pumpkin.
Hanji.
Yeah.
Petha. Yeah. Pumpkins. Yeah.
And then things like berries, so the purple, blueberries, and then reds. So even things like anar, so things like that. Pomegranate, is that anar? Yeah. So something like that. Making sure you're having all the colors through the day, really important. And then another very important one, we as Indians, Asians, we miss in a big way is protein. We start off with chawal, roti, very good for you, no problem, but we forget the protein. So we need to start with the protein. The dals have a lot of protein. They have carbohydrate, but a lot of protein. So make sure you're having enough dal, make sure you're having enough protein in your diet. If you eat meat, then chicken, fish, that's fine as well. But if you're a vegetarian, then if you eat eggs are good. If you eat dals and the chane and things like that, those are good too. But make sure you have the protein as well. So and things like yogurt, dahi, because it's fermented, so it's got bacteria in it. It's good for us. So very important to have. So when you look at an Indian meal, it's actually really healthy, but we just need to make sure with maybe changing a little bit. Maybe less masala.
Where do we access this this, where do we access what's good for us and what isn't good for us?
That's really difficult.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, I do a lot of work on that with the women that come to me. So I've created a whole program where we look at all the points we're going to talk about, but I guide them through step by step by step for 8 weeks. What to eat, how to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, how are you feeling? So what I get women to do is, you will know what's right for you.
Hanji.
Yeah, you'll have a cup of drink, suddenly you're sweating, you know something's wrong. You'll eat, you'll eat some food and you'll feel really good. The other food that's not so good is sugar. So too much sugar causes a lot of problems. And the sugar just isn't in the spoons that we put in the tea. But it's in too much fruit.
Hanji.
So make sure you have more vegetables than fruit, you know? Every so often somebody will have a cake or this or that, but just keep a check. Sometimes if you can make them at home, you know, you can change the sugar you're putting in.
Hanji.
One of the easiest things I make is I just get like biscuits for home. It's literally either oat flour, some like ground almonds, pista, something like that. Maybe a few raisins, not many. A little bit of banana, mash it up, all in a bowl, make it into little tiki-sized things in the oven. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, your biscuit. So I've not added any artificial sugar, but I'm in control of how much sugar. Coconut is a good substitute.
Coconut, okay.
Cinnamon, coconut.
Coconut, dalchini.
Dalchini, those things are good. Vanilla, that's also good. You know, maybe a little bit of honey. So, you know, be careful. Good is good, but not too much. You know, everybody says, oh, good is so good for you.
So really it's trial and error कि आप असी थोड़ा जिहा खा के पी के असी खुद दे विच गौर करना. We have to listen to our body. सानू अपने आप दे नाल अपने शरीर दे नाल कि ए खान तो बाद मैनू किवें महसूस होया. And then that is how we have to, it's trial and error, है ना, हर चीज दी तरह. So this is what साडियां पुरानियां बुढ़ियां must have done. But they didn't take the time to just teach it to us, I suppose. The
other thing I was going to say is quite a lot of people say there's a debate about soya.
Hanji.
Yeah. Some people say no, soya is really bad for you, and then other people soya is really good for you, and it can really help with certain symptoms. And this comes from in Japan. They eat a lot of soya. And there are reports that they don't suffer the same symptoms that we do, and they don't have, their menopause is very different to most of the people that we you know, for us South Asians. But that doesn't translate back to us. So soya is good because it's something called a phytoestrogen. And that means it's a plant-based estrogen. So it doesn't replace your estrogen, but it just adds a little bit of something to your diet, okay? So it is good, but we must make sure of the quality. So things like soya chunks and soya dried, dehydrated may not be very good. The source may not be very good. You know where it comes from? So having things like tofu is a good option, yeah? So making it part of your diet, you know, instead of the paneer, put the tofu in. You know, that kind of thing is good. So phytoestrogens are good. Yeah, good to add to your diet. Mainly.
What other things can we do for women that don't want to go down the HRT route? ਹੁਣ ਇੱਕ ਕਈ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਵਹਿਮ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ HRT ਜੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ like we've just discussed ਕਿ our grandmas you know didn't have access to this, it's a modern thing, and so we've talked about food ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ food ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ HRT ਸਹੀ ਜਾਂ ਗਲਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਣੇ ਪੀਣੇ ਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਅਗਰ ਗੌਰ ਕਰੀਏ ਧਿਆਨ ਦਈਏ ਥੋੜੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਚੇਂजेस ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ that we can then is it an alternative to HRT?
So, I mean, no, because HRT is replacing your hormones that you're losing. The food, and we can talk about exercise and sleep and other things, but those things are things that are not going to replace the hormones. They're just going to help you to manage the symptoms.
Right.
Yeah. So the only way that we can replace the hormones is with hormone replacement therapy. And these days it's made from, not like I said, it's not made like it used to be. It's made from yam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's but it doesn't mean that you can eat lots and lots of yam and you get the same. Because there's two you would need to eat.
What is yam in Punjabi? Yam ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਗਾ is it a kind of yam Arabi ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ
really?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
God, I love Arabi.
So I want to know, is this why my mum makes so much Arabi? Actually what my mum does do is replace potato with Arabi.
I love Arabi.
So ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ hormone replacement therapy ਆ you're saying that ਉਹ Arabi ਦੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ because Arabi ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ estrogen ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ.
Well, they extract it from there as well. So yeah, and it's the way that they make it now is that your body is able to identify the hormones that they're giving in that hormone replacement therapy.
But you, like you said, that it's not an alternative.
So food and lifestyle is this you should be doing anyway.
Whether you're on HRT or not.
No, you should really be mindful because the weight gain is something that is real. It happens because of estrogen and the way it's laying down fat, because that's what happens. What your body's trying to do is lay down fat, and what you're trying to do is say, no, I need to be healthier, or I need to be in a good body fat range, because your risk to disease increases with an increased body fat. So if you are obese, then your risk for disease increases. So we've got to watch out for that as well, make sure we're keeping healthy. But there are also, as well as food, there are also really many other things that we need to be mindful of as well that we can do to help.
ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ show ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ you said that there were six things.
Yes.
ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ already ਕਰ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਾਂ about food. What are those 6 things if you can just remind our audience of them?
Okay, so we've talked about HRT, we have just talked about food, so those are 2. The others are sleep, making sure that you are communicating and talking about and educating yourself about this, making sure that you're continuing to learn, because keeping your brain active is very, very important. Our brain is, there's a term called neuroplasticity. That means it's continually growing. Yeah? So it's a muscle that's growing. So we use it and then we keep learning. And the last thing is about being sociable, making sure you're going out and seeing your friends, because if you're feeling like this and all your friends are saying there's nothing wrong with you, after a while you may stop going out with them, because then you're thinking, well, then there's something wrong with me, I don't know, maybe I'm different, maybe I'm not well. So really, like, what friends should be saying is, oh, is that how you're feeling? Why don't you keep a check of it? Why don't you go see your doctor? Not saying no, you're too young. They mean well. But that's not always the right thing to say.
ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ to make someone feel better ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ.
Exactly.
And it's almost like minimizing what they're going through. So just to go back, so ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ HRT ਬਾਰੇ, food ਬਾਰੇ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਨੀਂਦ. ਨੀਂਦ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ, ਐਕਸਰਸਾਈਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ, and you said ਕਿ ਨਵੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ. ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ, is it for mental health or just for our brain health as well? ਮਾਨਸਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗੀ ਸਿਹਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਿੱਖੋ. You know what, I always watched my mum and watched my grandma always knitting and crocheting and learning new patterns. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਨਾਨੀ ਨੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵਾਂ ਪੈਟਰਨ, ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਬੁਣਤੀ, ਕੋਈ crochet ਦਾ design. She did this till the day she died.
Absolutely. My mum is the same. My mum learnt how to play, she played bridge. Wow. She's 87. She played bridge for years, but then my father passed away. She carried on playing bridge. That was her little social thing. During lockdown, she taught herself how to play bridge with her friends online on Zoom. Wow. Then, I mean, literally, I couldn't have done it. And every time we see her, she's got a new recipe.
Oh,
she's on
amazing.
YouTube, she's on Facebook, she's got a new recipe, she's knitting, she's constantly learning. And touch, you know, she's alert. So that's my role model, same as you know, you are saying. Learning is so important to keep us alert, to keep us active, but also to keep, you know, means we can go out and have a conversation. So you then bring in that sociable element, you know, so making sure that everybody's okay, making sure you're okay, making sure your friends are all right, making sure, so you bring that, then you learn, you keep talking, you know, and you keep knowing what's happening in the world.
So when we say कि कोई हमेशा सीखते रहना, इदा ये नहीं जरूरी नहीं मतलब हैगा कि ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਵੀ we can learn new recipes, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਬੁਣਤੀ ਪਾਉਣੀ, ਕੋਈ ਕਰੋਸ਼ੀਆ ਕਰਨਾ, ਕਿ there's something for everyone. And I think we talked a little bit, and we will talk more about these, but we've used the word socialize karna. Sab to, and we said this, you said this as well, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੈਮਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ. ਹੁਣ lots of people watching are going to switch the TV on and say menopause ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, switch it off. Why is it ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕਿ for everybody to know this? is ਸਿਰਫ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ. Why is it important?
You know, the highest rate of divorce that they're saying now is in this age group, 50 and plus. Relationships are breaking down because of this. One doctor said to me, I was chatting to her, and she said to me that a man came into the surgery and he had really high blood pressure and he was really stressed. And he was like, you know, yep, you'll need to take blood pressure, and we need to reduce your stress. Like, what's going on at home? And he just said, I don't know what's happening to my wife. I don't know what's going on at home. She's irritable. She's really angry, and I don't know where. And the doctor said, do you think she's going through menopause? He said, well, I don't know. So by treating her and helping her, it helped him as well to reduce his stress levels.
So what you're saying, I feel it's really important to repeat this, कि सब तो highest rate divorce ਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੋਣ ਦਾ ਇਸ ਉਮਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ.
When you're going through the menopause.
And I think ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਰੀ ਸੁਣਿਆ, I've heard this with my own ears, people saying 25 ਸਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ divorce ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. 25 ਸਾਲ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ, 20 ਸਾਲ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ, ਦਾ after 20 years, after 25 years ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. And this is why, because ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਖੁਦ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, we don't know what's going on. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ. So this is why ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ. From a young age, would you say, ਆਪਣੇ ਧੀਆਂ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ?
So my daughters, they know, my son-in-laws, they know. It's so important because then they can help me. I've seen with my own eyes with the women that I've helped, that where the women are supported by the husbands, by the family, they manage the symptoms so well. So everybody should be involved. Everybody should be educated, because then you can help each other.
Amazing. So we're going to pick up again next week. ਆਪਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਫੇਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. And again, Nashta Cafe, thank you so much ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ 5th season, 5ਵਾਂ season ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. So next week ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਪਣੇ, not just for women, ਵੀਰਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ, ਧੀਆਂ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ, we're going to carry on talking about this subject more. Thank you so much, Mira. We'll have another guest on as well who's got lots of questions, I'm sure. So for today, I think we have to wrap up here now. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.